Hey everybody, welcome and thanks for joining us today. This is actually our first virtual career conversation that we've recorded, so really excited to have you with us today. If you're with us live right now, down in the chat box, you can put any questions there, and at the end we'll have a little time for Q&A. And hey, just to share with you, our goal at Hope Through Housing, is that, there are many career paths out there that are open to you in the future for our kids. And that's mostly, I think, who's going to be watching this. Or so if you're, any of our kids, if you're in elementary school and middle school and high school, or even graduated from high school and looking at this, figuring out, hey, what can my future look like? What we want to do through Career Conversations is to introduce you to the many different jobs and opportunities that are out there, and also the education that might be required to get you there. And today we're excited. We have a panel of folks here, some friends from Comerica Bank. And I think it's going to be interesting because, when we think of bank, a lot of times what we think about is bank tellers, right? But the reality is there's a whole slew of different jobs within the bank. And today we're going to hear from at least 4 individuals who have different roles in the bank that might be different than what you might have imagined before. And so want to thank each of our speakers. We have Kathy Dorner with us, Chris Price, Shaylise King, and Larry Reed, who are going to be speaking to us. And I'll do a little bit more in terms of introduction of them in just a couple minutes. But first of all, just want to introduce and say hi to David Betancourt, who helped us arrange this at Comerica, and let him say a couple words. How you doing, David?
Thank you, Greg, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'll be really quick so we can get to the reason why we're here, but my name is David Betancourt. I'm the External Affairs Market Manager for Southern California at Comerica Bank, and we're really excited for today. Really what we're trying to do at Comerica is raising expectations of what a bank can be, especially in these crucial times when it's needed the most. We have invested a total of $8 million to COVID-19 relief programs. So we're extremely excited, and we love partnering with great partners like the Hope Through Housing Foundation, who not only provides affordable housing, but the foundation itself does a lot to give back to its children, families, and seniors that are residents of their properties as well. So today was really exciting because we have a very diverse group of panels here. They all have their own expertise, but most importantly, they all have their own stories. So really excited to listen and hear more of each and every one of them. So thank you for having us, Greg.
Absolutely, yeah, and thanks for the partnership as well and the support that Comerica provides to Hope Through Housing and National Core. We really appreciate that. So hey, we're going to jump right in. I'm going to introduce our first speaker, and that's Christopher Price, or Chris Price. He's an AVP, or Assistant Vice President of Talent Acquisition Consultant at Comerica Bank, supporting the trust and retail bank hiring. His career started with Comerica in 2014 in the commercial banking training and recruitment program. Chris is also a graduate of Comerica's Emerging Leaders Development Program. And with that, welcome, Chris. I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to pull up the slide presentation at the same time.
All right, thank you, Greg. So, all right, maybe we go to the next slide here. All right, so just like Greg said, my name is Chris Price, and I'm a talent acquisition consultant here at Comerica Bank. Been here for a little bit over 6 years now. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what a talent acquisition consultant is, basically my job is to give other people jobs. So people will come to me through online, maybe through friends and family, or other people that they might know, other people that work at Comerica. Or sometimes I actually have to go out and try to find people to give them jobs. So, I feel that my job is really important because I'm actually helping people find jobs that they might have been looking to do since they were kids. And to me, the most important thing is I'm helping people be able to provide for themselves and their families. So by working here at Comerica, they're able to pay their rent, they're able to pay their car payment, go on vacations with their friends and family. So I feel like my job in being able to help people get jobs is a really important role here at Comerica. And it usually starts with our department, and you'll end up being like Shaylise or Kathy Dorner eventually in your career, but usually everything starts out with a recruiter. But I haven't always been a recruiter, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my path and how I got here. So I'm a Southern California native, grew up out in Valencia, California. For those of you familiar with California, that's right next to Magic Mountain for all you thrill seekers out there. Grew up in a small family, just my younger brother, my parents, and growing up in my household, my parents were very tough on us when it came to education and working hard. So they made sure that we were always doing our homework, we got good grades, and even if we weren't doing our homework and getting good grades, I mean, we weren't able to, it wasn't too fun in the Price household. So that was definitely one thing that they stressed with us. And I know some of you guys are about to be graduating seniors, and I can tell you when I was about to graduate high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But my dad, he was a college graduate himself, and just the fact that they stressed education, he kind of said that was what we're going to do. You're going to go to college, and he helped me take a look at a few schools, and I eventually landed on Arizona State University right outside of Phoenix, Arizona. Got a little picture of kind of the front of our school and our mascot, Sparky, go Sun Devils. So I said, you're not always going to know what you want to do, but I mean, I felt it was really thankful for my dad for pushing me to go to college. I mean, I had a lot of great experiences, and that's something that I can always appreciate him for. So can we move to the next slide, Greg? Now, when I got to school, I was really interested in cooking and legal studies. So even in high school, I was always a big fan of cooking. And when I was come time to graduate college, I had to make a decision. Did I want to go into culinary school, or did I want to try to become a lawyer? But in between making those decisions, I decided to take a job at a bank. And now I'm at a bank 15 years later. So never got into cooking, never got into becoming a lawyer. I happen to really enjoy working in the banking industry. Started out in the fraud department, so basically trying to prevent people from stealing money from the bank. I started I worked in mortgages, so helping people get houses. And I put in a lot of hard work and was really successful, and ended up becoming a corporate trainer while I was in one of the departments I was in. And eventually I found this job here at Comerica Bank and was able to kind of combine the two things that I like, being able to help people in their careers and also be able to train people. And I can tell you, without the education that I received in high school and Arizona State, I mean, I probably wouldn't be in the position that I'm in right now. I know a lot of the opportunities that we have available to us do require sometimes higher education. So that's one of the reasons why I feel that it's important to get that education, try hard, and to get good grades. So, and like I say, people like to ask me, what's one of your favorite things about being a recruiter, or favorite things, and one of the things that you, I guess, like the least. But my favorite thing is be able to see someone's reaction when I reach out to them and let them know that they've got a job, that they're so grateful that they're going to be able to work with Comerica. It's been what they've wanted to do since they've been in college. And then on the other end of it, sometimes we have to tell people they didn't get a job. And when it comes to that side of the job that I have, my goal is to really give people feedback, provide them with encouragement. And I can say a lot of times that people don't get jobs. There's plenty of times where they'll come back, they've taken the advice and the feedback we've given them, and they've ended up being employed here at Comerica. So I just thought I would share that about a little bit of my career, how I got here to Comerica and what I do. And then if we can go to the next slide. So the next slide here have a few pictures that I feel are very important to me in my career and kind of where I'm at now. So if we can start at the upper left, you got myself, we got Shaylise, and one of our other co-workers here that was a part of the Comerica's Emerging Leaders Program. And with that program, they selected a few of us that they felt will or can be future leaders at Comerica. And we were able to learn a lot about ourselves, how to interact with other people, and what it would take to become a leader. So without the hard work and dedication, I can tell you that we probably wouldn't be in that situation or invited into that program. I also have a picture of USC Marshall School of Business. I know most of us are from Southern California, so familiar with the USC Trojans. But as a recruiter, we do a lot with college campuses. We get to go on site, talk to the students, give them a little bit of background and some of the different opportunities we have here. We give a lot of people jobs that come right out of college. So that's one of the schools that we partner with quite often. So I thought I would share that. Let's see here, a couple other pictures with me and my teammates. We've been invited to several different functions. The one on the bottom left was our Hispanic, one of our Hispanic employee organizations. We were invited to a banquet, and they were able to talk about Comerica and the things that we've done in the community. On the bottom right picture is my office. That kind of overlooks the ocean out here in Long Beach. So, and I feel like we worked hard, and I feel like that's it's an accomplishment. And then just the other two pictures are my coworkers here in the recruiting department. And the top right was one of the times I actually got to go out to Detroit, Michigan, to meet with some of the teams that I support out there in my wealth management group that deal with high net worth individuals. So, so all the things that are happening in these photos, I would say, are due to hard work and the time that I put in to be successful. And then I think I have one more slide. All right, and the last slide, I mean, I just like to kind of tie things together and provide a little bit of advice. So the first one is take education seriously. Like I said, that's been hammered into me from my parents, my other family members, my friends. So I'd like to share that with everybody else. Also, be open-minded and develop relationships with people that don't always look like you and act like you. When you're going into college, when you're going into the workforce, you're always going to be interacting with people that don't have the same opinions as you, that aren't come from the same background. But in order to be more inclusive and have an understanding of different people and kind of where they're come from, you're going to want to be open-minded and surround yourself with people that aren't from your own circle. I mean, if everyone's in your own, if everyone in your circle looks like you and acts like you, I've been told your circle is not big enough. So that's one piece of advice I like to give. And then the last two is hard work pays off. You put in the time, you put in the work, you're eventually going to get to where you want to be. And then the last thing is have fun. So even though we're here at work, we're serious. We like to have fun. You want to have fun with your education. You want to have fun with your life. So that's the last piece of advice that I'd like to share with everyone for this presentation.
Thanks so much, Chris. Yeah, really good stuff there. Great to learn a little bit about you, and I appreciate that advice and really good tips there. So, hey, we're going to move on to our next speaker, which is Shaylise King. She also goes by Shay, I understand. And Shaylise is a project manager and assistant vice president of the Technical Engineering Collective Rotation Program. She'll have to tell us what that means, in Auburn Hills, Michigan. So coming to us from Michigan today. She's been with Comerica since 1999, starting as a customer service representative in banking centers. She then transitioned into technology in 2011, and her current responsibility is aligning the program with strategic direction, participant development, onboarding, budgeting, program branding, community involvement, and partnering with human resources and talent acquisitions team members to attract new talent. Those are a lot of words, and I hope that Shay will break it down for us and simplify a little bit about what that means. So thanks for being with us, Shay.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm a pleasure to be here with you all. So I am a project manager for our Comerica's Technology Engineering Collective Rotational Program. And what that is that's a technology rotation program that's based out of Auburn Hills, Michigan, in which we hire college graduates with a bachelor's degree in computer science, any type of technical bachelor degree in science, computer science, and they go through a 2-year rotation program. So throughout that 2 years, they go through 3 different 8-month technology rotations in various technology departments, such as cybersecurity, data analytics, commercial technologies, just various different technology domains and shared services. And throughout their course of 2 years and through these 8 months, they learn various technical skills. They've gone through school and obtained their education and their degree. Now it's time for them to put everything they've learned into play, as well as learn a whole bunch of new skills. So they learn networking, they learn anything from, they get thrown in there and work on real life projects that are helping our customers thrive throughout the bank. So that's a little bit about what I do now. And part of that is going out to colleges and doing some recruiting and talking with various students about what their next career path they want to do in technology, as well as joining that rotation program. And part of that rotation program, I also manage our intern program. So right now we have both of those going on right now, and they were kicked off virtually this year because of everything that's going on in the world. We weren't able to be in person, but we've kicked off virtually, and they've done a wonderful job with being college students and working from home virtually. And so that intern program acts as a feeder pool into our technology rotation program. So that kind of gives us a sneak peek of the type of candidates we could potentially bring in once they graduate school. So that's a little bit about what I do now, but I'll tell you how my career began at Comerica Bank. So back in 1999, I was a single parent, and I had originally started going to college for education. I really wanted to be a teacher, had known that I wanted to be a teacher since I was like 6 years old. I love working with children, I love working with people, and so I knew I wanted to be an educator. But like I said, mentioning being a single parent, I had to realize I needed to find a different career path that was going to allow me to take care of myself and my daughter. So I then transitioned and changed my career path into technology, and I started going to school for computer science. During that time, I found a job at Comerica Bank, and the only thing at that time that I was qualified for was to be what they called a traveling teller. So I would get my assignment for the week, and I would go to different Comerica banking centers and work there for the week as needed in the capacity that was needed. So then as I transitioned, I was a teller for a little over 8 years and went from a teller to a senior teller, in which I worked with managing and leading the teller staff and working with the commercial customers. So that was a very rewarding transition from going to being a regular teller and going into a super teller on a teller line. Then as I was doing that and working in the banking centers, I continued my education and finished my bachelor's degree in computer science, and eventually transitioned into one of Comerica's departments called the Collateral Evaluation Group. Like Chris mentioned, it's important to talk to everybody that you interact with, because I had a desire to then transition into technology, but because maybe I didn't have enough years of experience, it was a little bit hard. And so I would apply for positions and get turned down because I didn't have that number of years of experience. But I remember I'm a true believer in you manifest what you want, you speak it into existence, and it shall happen. And this has happened to me quite a bit throughout my life. So I just constantly think positive things, and I write down the things that I want. And I will never forget this, that we were on my team when I worked in the collateral evaluation group. We had a lady that was doing a project who we were, relaying information to. And she was in technology. And so I just had a conversation with her one day, how did you get in technology? Tell me about your career path. And she told me all about her career path and how she got started, and how once upon a time, Comerica had a starter technology program. And she said, they don't have it anymore, but they had it, once upon a time, but it's not here anymore. So, that's something that, that would have been great for you. And I said, yeah, it would have been. And I kid you not, 2 days later, I just went out on our company mobility, and I was looking at technology positions once again, just looking, and there it was. At the time, it was called Technical Professional Analyst Program, and it's a program that I manage today. So I started my career in Comerica into transitioning into technology in our, now it's called Technology Engineering and Collective Rotation Program. So I'm an alumni of the program that I now manage. So you can see how your career path can manifest into the things that you want. I had a drive and a determination to get into technology. I got into our starter program for beginners, and then now I am leading that program. So just always go after your career dreams and never forget the things that you want to do. So just if you look at my slides, some pictures that I have here of myself and one of our interns that was with us last year. She goes to Michigan State University. So we were out at her school recruiting, and I just put out to some of my students, if, hey, I'm gonna be at your college, stop by my table and come and see me. And then so we did a little photo op and posted that on LinkedIn. Something that I did with my interns last year was we went to Ann Arbor Tech Trek. It's where we go, it's a thing in Michigan where you go out into Ann Arbor and they have all the startup companies for the day. And we took a little field trip and spent the day in Ann Arbor and got to understand what all the new up and coming technology companies are doing. One of my passions is volunteer and philanthropy. So I am one of Comerica Southeast Michigan volunteer coordinators. And so you see my picture at the Detroit Tiger Stadium with Paul's, my friend there. We were working on Shred Day. And so Paul's was out there helping me out for Shred Day. Next slide. So working at the bank is extremely rewarding. Like Chris mentioned, you have to create those relationships, create those networking opportunities, and you can never imagine the things that you get to do. Like today, I'm having this career conversation with you all just to let you know how important it is to keep on driving towards your career path. So like I mentioned, I'm one of the Comerica Southeast Michigan volunteer coordinators. And so in the picture at the top left, we had the opportunity to go out to Ford Field and work with the Detroit Lions on packaging food for those in need. The picture right under that is myself and my technology rotation program participants. This is the class of 2020. They just graduated from the 2-year program. They're now in their full-time roles. The picture under that, I had the opportunity to meet Herman Moore, which was very rewarding, and he's a big fan of Comerica Bank, so that was awesome. At the top right, or I'm sorry, in the middle, last year I had the opportunity to lead Comerica's International Women's Day event. There I am with Paul Obermeyer. And I actually was surprised because I won an award at that event for leading that effort. At the top right, you see myself. Those are all of the 30 interns that were interning at Comerica Bank last year. We were published in the Detroit, Michigan Chronicle newspaper for our efforts and volunteer work. And sometimes you may see this picture. It's been posted a lot on LinkedIn and some of Comerica's sustainability reports. And then below, like Chris mentioned, we were chosen of a select few to be invited to Comerica's Emerging Leaders Program. This was very rewarding because it shows that your hard work does not go unnoticed. Somebody's watching. Somebody's always watching you, and when you least expect it, they reward you for your efforts. So these are my major accomplishments, my career path at Comerica Bank, and thank you for having me today.
Thanks so much, Shay. I really appreciate that, and looks like you have had some great opportunities there. Thanks for sharing those photos. Always love seeing the photos. And hey, I want to introduce next is Kathy Dorner. Tell you a little bit about Kathy. She's a senior field marketing coordinator for Comerica Bank. In this position, she's responsible for planning and executing client, prospect, and COI events and sponsorships in Southern California, which I think she's going to tell us maybe a little bit about. Kathy joined Comerica Bank marketing team at Imperial Bank and Comerica Bank in 1998. I imagine maybe that was a merger. She can clear that up. And she started as a marketing assistant working on a small 8-person team that supported California. And I'm glad to have you with us today, Kathy.
Hi there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Southern California. Feel very fortunate about that. I have 2 much older sisters that were out of the house when I began middle school. And I'm going to preface all this with, my parents did not go to college. So it was not something that was in my home ever. My oldest sister did go to college, but she was out so far ahead of me. She's 14 years older than me. So she was out before I got to have a great, I guess, support system for that. And going forward, I always worked part-time through high school. And after high school, I started working full-time right out of high school, and I went to junior college part-time. I was very lucky in my career, and I've always been very lucky in my career, that I was able to get a great job working for a car stereo manufacturer. I was promoted at work, and I really enjoyed the money I was making, the company I worked for, and the friends I was making. I was able to get my own apartment with my best friend. And after 1 year of attending junior college, I dropped out. In hindsight, I wish that I had stuck it out at least and gotten my AA, but my dream would have been to get my four-year college degree. I worked for a few very wonderful companies throughout the years until landing at Comerica Bank. I've been here a little over 20 years, and I've been extremely happy. I'm super lucky to be in a job that I love to do every single day, and I think that I have the best job because I get to work with all the departments in the bank. Here we are in 2020. I've worked very hard through the years. I'm married, lots of life experiences, good and bad. I have two beautiful children that are first-generation college graduates. Both were college athletes, so we got to go to a lot of their games throughout the years. I'm very proud that my son, who is a new father, immediately started a college fund for my 3-month-old grandson, Rory. This really shows me that he knows how important education is, as I do now. Some fun stuff about us is we love cooking and growing our own fruit and vegetables in our backyard. We have 20 types of tomatoes, peppers, carrots, apples, avocados, peaches, and berries. We make and can our own tomato sauce and jam every summer and eat it throughout the year. It's a lot of work, but it's a huge reward. One of my heroes growing up, and still to this day, is my sister Nancy. She's really helped me raise me after my father passed when I was 16, and I'm super grateful for her. So I hope, and I think it's super important to look and see who your heroes are and bring them in as mentors to help you through your path. Advice for you, I love everything that Chris said, but I also want to add one more, and that is try not to have any regrets. If something seems so hard to do, always give it your best shot so you don't have regrets. And then also be a nice person, because you never know what else someone else may be going through. Now, with that said, we can start on with the first slide, Greg. So my job at Comerica Bank, I think I have the best job in the world. I get to plan all the parties for the bank. I think that's one of the things my kids loved about growing up, is because they always got to have the best parties. It's just something that I've always liked to do. I've always liked to do things different. My kids always had birthday parties that were different than all the other kids. At the bank, we try and do educational events and sponsorships to increase revenue and deposits and loans and awareness for Comerica Bank. The idea about us having these events is that we want people to come in and know how great our bank is. We want them to come in and know what a great community partner we are. We want them to come in and know what great employees we have that will take care of them and be there for them. One of the objectives to brand awareness is these two logos that are next to the Comerica Bank logo are very familiar logos. These are two of my favorite places, other than work. But we want people to be able to see that blue trapezoid and know that it's the Comerica Bank logo. So that's one of my goals, is to make sure that everybody who comes to our event knows about us, knows how great we are, and knows that we're there for them. Some of the events that I get to do are very fancy private dinners with special guest speakers. We want to have these dinners at special places where people normally wouldn't get to go, where they normally wouldn't go on if they were taking their family out to dinner. We want to wow people. We do special events in super fun locations like car dealerships where they get to take cars for test drives. We've done them on yachts. We did a dinner in a field with 100 people sitting all end to end. So you could look down and you could see all the other people that were there at the event. That one was a lot of fun. I've done a couple events on the top of buildings. Everyone loved those as well, where the music's blaring and there's great food and great conversation and great presentations from the bank. We do a lot of community mixers. Comerica Bank is all about the community. In all of our banking centers, we try and do different types of mixers, whether they're for businesses or local community presentations. We want to make sure everybody knows that they're welcome into our banking centers. We do a lot of luncheon presentations with speakers, and we discuss current affairs. I do a lot of signature events. We do a large Comerica Bank Women's Business Symposium that features different speakers and educational presentations. Some of my keynote speakers have been Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, Just 2 years ago, we had Cookie Johnson, who is the wife of Magic Johnson. She was our keynote 1 year, and we've had several other ones that have just been great. We're very good at creating our own events here. We do a lot of diversity events to celebrate Black History Month, Diwali, which is the Indian Festival of Lights, Chinese New Year, Hispanic Heritage Month, Nowruz, which is the Persian New Year. You go to the next slide, please. We do a lot of educational events. We feel education, again, is very important even for all of our guests. We want them to learn so they can improve personally or use the knowledge for their business to make their businesses better. We join efforts with a lot of other companies that align on our business focus for sponsorships. We like to go in and partner with like-minded companies like law firms or CPA firms that can teach our clients something, and so they'll walk away with general knowledge. Advertising. This isn't really my area, but I like to advertise all of our events. So I like to show them what we're offering, how we can help, and look how we can help others. The more that we get our information out there, the more that it helps us and it helps our guests. I like to advertise our success in the community by showing how we've helped the community. We have an entertainment department. So in the bank, it's just, there are so many different departments. I think that you've heard just with the other two speakers about 4 or 5 different ones that they've been in. And we also have an entertainment department. We finance a lot of top movies. So that's another fun thing. So that's a way of us advertising the success of a movie also helps us. We have corporate partnerships with other well-known brands, and this is one of the fun ones that we get to work on. We are partners with the Lakers. We have a lot of benefits through our partnership. We get to take our guests on training facility tours where they get to go tour the training facility while practice is going on. They get to meet a player, have lunch, and just see the ins and outs of how practice works for the Lakers. We also do on-court events where somebody gets to be the ball person. They deliver the game ball. We also have one where they get to be the honorary team captain. And we're currently working on 2 different things with them. One is math hoops, and the other one is a financial literacy program. So we're going to be working on those for this upcoming season with the Lakers. Another largest event I do, and it's the largest, is the Comerica Bank Business Awards. That's also through the Lakers. That runs through the entire Lakers season, and it's 5 women. We take nominations throughout the entire season, and 5 women are nominated each month, or honored each month down on court, and they're presented with an award, and it's center court, and it's a big announcement on there, and it's a lovely honor. I help out with community events. I support with banners, tablecloths, collateral, and promotional items. We want to make sure that every single event we go out there at Comerica looks their best, they're shiny clean, and everything's perfect. We want to make sure that the promo items and the gadgets that we give away at all of our expos and events that we go to are top notch and items that everybody will appreciate. And then the last slide here, if we could go forward, is we promote all of our events on social media. It's one of the biggest ways. It's free for us. So we promote all of our events on Comerica.com, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. During our events, we encourage people to tag us in Twitter and Instagram, even LinkedIn, and show us how much fun they're having at our events. And I think that's it. That's it for me.
All right. Well, hey, Kathy, I think so far you have definitely the award for the most fun job.
I love my job, and I love to work with everybody. I get to work with every department, which is so great, and I try and make them happy. I try and do my best to make sure that their events bring in business for them. That's our goal. So
yeah, that's great. And for for our kids who are watching, I mean, would you ever think that you could have a job throwing fun parties and hanging out with the Lakers and doing all this cool stuff, and you actually get paid to do it, which is
I get paid to do it. And family's pretty
Yes.
jealous too. When I come home from, a Laker event or, a big
They say,
event.
yeah, we know you've been out working really hard, right?
Yeah. So but it's fun. I feel very, very lucky. I feel very lucky, and I feel blessed.
Very good. Well, hey, thanks again for sharing. And
Thank you.
I want to introduce our final speaker, Larry Reed. And Larry, I've known for a little while, great guy. Larry was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, where he was raised with his brother and his mom. And he was also the first in his family to attend college. Larry's currently Senior Vice President for External Affairs and Community Development for Comerica Bank. His responsibilities include management of regional staff and operations in California, National Director of Community Impact Investing. He's a member of investment, product development, marketing, product development, and diversity committees, and a member of the national management team. And so glad to have you with us today. Larry, take it away.
Thanks, Greg, for having me. It's a pleasure to join everyone today. Kathy does throw a great party, and she selects great entertainment, which is always cool. I disagree that she's got the best job in the bank. I think I do, because I get to give away other people's money. But I do it in a meaningful way, in a manner that it qualifies as an investment. So you can actually go to the next slide, because these pictures actually tell a story. Normally, we kind of are reserved in regard to what we share and sort of the information that we reveal about ourselves. I've known Greg. I know the mission of his organizations that he works with, both National Core and Hope Through Housing Foundation. So that resonates with me. I understand the value of our work, and I also appreciate the fact that in this audience, there's one person who will likely remind me of myself, and hopefully they will see themselves in me. So I decided to go a little bit different on the approach. No narrative, there's enough words in the world today. So we're gonna just stick to a visual story. So as Greg mentioned, I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. Majority of my life raised by a single mom. My brother works for LAPD. I've been a career banker and working in the banking and finance industry. I've always loved money, and that's been important to me. And so my career naturally gravitated toward that. So I'll start with the end in mind. The importance of education cannot be overstated. Being the first person in my family to go to college, there were no role models. There was no benchmark on what to do, how it looks. There were teachers who cared. There were teachers who smacked me around and said, hey, you're too smart not to have a degree. There were teachers who showed up to my house and told on me that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do in class. I had a mom who showed up on campus and had me summoned to the office. And there's nothing worse in the world than to show up in your counselor's office and your mom is sitting there with a very unhappy look on her face. That's not a good place to be. It brings chills back to my spine just thinking about it. But those were the things that kept me on the straight and narrow. We were always, my brother and I, encouraged that we can do and be anything we wanted. And we had to just go work for it. And so having been surrounded by people who had money, at a certain age, I realized that we did not have much money, and that pissed me off. So I was motivated by the things that drove me. Some of which you see depicted here. So I'll start with the first guy in the upper left-hand corner, that young fella with his cute little self with a little hair brushed with the part, actually used to get the free lunch program. Didn't know that he was low or moderate income, but he was surrounded by a loving family, hence the smile. I think I must have been in second grade, was probably missing a tooth or two in the front. So that's why I'm not really showing the bright pearly whites. But that was then. So, loved, absolutely. Did I have the resources and the foundation that a lot of other folks had with more privileged families financially? I did not. The next photo is that dapper guy in the football uniform with all the wonderful pads on, and still broke my wrist in the first game of the season anyway. Was a terrified college student. I did not go straight to college out of high school. I kind of messed around and figured around like that. Do I want to go? I played around in junior college and didn't take it seriously, never finished really too many classes, but I always worked hard. And again, I was surrounded by people in the banking industry where I began my career as a bank teller at Union Bank in Beverly Hills that told me I was too smart not to have a degree. And while I think they were intending it to be a compliment, I took it as an insult because it meant that I was wasting my potential, that I could have been doing more than what I was doing. And so I buckled down and started paying attention to what they were saying, and set about my task of getting myself into college. Toyed with the idea of becoming a police officer, took the test, passed it. Being a firefighter, took the test, passed it, got offered a place in the academy at the same time that my acceptance letter came to the University of Laverne, and something told me to go to college, and so I did. I'm glad I did. And to prove the people right, I actually finished college in 3 years, which again kind of made me look back in hindsight, recognize that I could have done more. I was older when I went to school. I was 22. I didn't go straight out of high school. So for those who have not gone straight to college out of high school or think it's too late, if you, regardless of your age, it's not too late to go back to school. Nobody's line, nobody's trajectory is straight. Mine has a whole lot of curves and loops and other things in it. I've always, done a good job of keeping food on the table and keeping myself fed, but I always knew that I wanted more. And so I went back to school, finished in 3 years. And during those times when it got really, really hard, I literally stood in front of the main building at University of Laverne and made a deal with God. It's like, look, I have no money. I have bills that are due, and I don't know how I'm going to get this done. If you get me through this, I'll help at least one person get into and through college. I didn't know what that meant, but when I went inside the financial aid office that day, there was a check waiting for me, and it was enough for me to pay my car note, which at the time was $177.89. I remember that number like it was yesterday. And I was able to go to the Chinese food buffet on Gary Avenue in Pomona and have some all-you-could-eat buffet. So those are the things that you remember on your journey. And then I decided that it was time for me to pay it back. So I've always enjoyed giving an encouraging word to someone that needed the encouragement to go to school. One of the folks I encouraged to go to school and finish was my wife, who actually went back to school and graduated with honors. I'm blessed to have 2 children who between the 2 of them have 5 degrees. Like Chris mentioned, going to college was never discussed as being optional in my house. It was as compulsory as 2nd grade. And thankfully, because I married well, I have smart kids with great work habits, which I didn't necessarily have. So that combination resulted in 2 very high achieving students who were also athletes and went to fine schools, University of Minnesota. My youngest son, my oldest son, did his undergrad at Northwestern University, and grad school at University of Oregon. Thankfully, we didn't have to pay for that because he took care of that with scholarships, etc. But my point is that education is the common thread through all of that. The other 2 pictures that you see, the boat in the photograph, when I was a kid, one of my aunt's friends who lived in Compton had a boat in his driveway. And it always amazed me, every time I went to his house, his name was Monroe. I'd say, Monroe, you mean if you wanted to go out and take your boat in the ocean anytime you wanted, you could take it anytime you wanted? Like nobody could make you leave your boat or tell you no? He said, anytime I want to go, I can go. That was appealing to me. And so the boat you see in this photograph is actually my 2nd boat. And the first one was way too much. I overdid it. I didn't need all that. So my first boat was named Po No Mo, because for me, that was my benchmark, that poverty was in my past. This boat, the 2nd one, which was more in tune with what my family needed and wanted and which suited my needs, is called Perfect Fit, is the name of this 2nd boat. So the last picture you see there, where I'm wearing that really nice University of Minnesota t-shirt, is about a week before Father's Day when I went to go pick up a nice 2020 Porsche Macan. So that was a gift to me in advance of Father's Day, and that was also my 2nd Porsche. So I like nice cars, I like boats. I like the security of knowing that my kids are educated, hence the fact that I'm wearing my lucky shirt, which is my University of Minnesota shirt. That is the period at the end of my parental sentence as it regards to educating my children. So when I do anything important like flying for business, or in this case, going to buy a car during a COVID crisis, because there's great deals to be had in the middle of a crisis, then I wore that shirt. One of the things I'll point out as it relates to the options and the opportunities that are provided to individuals who have an education. Everyone that's on this phone on behalf of Comerica Bank is still collecting a paycheck. There are many people who are not blessed to say that. We've got a company who cares about our safety. If we did not do the things, both work ethic and education wise, and value add in our career, that positioned us to be essential workers, that they are still paying us. We're all being paid to work from home to remain safe. If you need anything, we'll buy it. You know, that's the mandate from the bank. We get to do that because we are in a position where we don't have to jeopardize our life to make a living. The only way you do that is to pay some dues. I call it doing the homework. So if you don't want to be on the front line doing a job that you don't like or that puts you in harm's way, then if you have an education, if you have a successful track record for a value added work ethic and the contributions you make to your organization, it gives you more options. And so I can decide I don't want to work for the bank anymore. I want to be a consultant. I can do that. If you've got an advanced degree, for those who do, maybe you might want to teach, and that's all being done virtually now. My job at the bank, frankly, is a bit irrelevant. But I will say the thing that is most relevant about my job is that on behalf of the bank, I get to make investments and contributions that are in line with what the bank's mandates are, in line with the Community Reinvestment Act. In short answer, that means I get to give money in the form of donations and investments to low and moderate incomes, exactly like the one that I grew up in. Greg and other folks who know me have heard me say I take my work very personally because I grew up being the target market. I went to Dorsey High School in South Central LA. There are many of my friends that I grew up with that have done very well. There are some, frankly, who have not done very well, who have become victims of the things that are normal in inner city neighborhoods. But I disagree with the fact that you can put folks in a box depending on where they came from. I'm from South Central. My wife is from Compton. We've got two very brilliant children. And as you see from the photos, my wife allows me to buy a nice toy every once in a while. So it can be done. It doesn't matter where you start. It sounds cliche, but I am living proof that it doesn't matter where you start. It's how much work you put in and the opportunities that you avail yourself of with your hard work and education gives you some options and give you some choices so you can live the life you want to live. And that boat that you see in that photo is sitting in my driveway. And if I ever stop being lazy, like maybe tomorrow on my birthday, I'll be able to go outside and sit on it, even if it doesn't leave the driveway and I can pretend it's in the water. That photo's in Marina Del Rey, by the way. So anyway, with that, Greg, I'll hand it back to you. I hope there's at least one person in this audience that hears this video that understands that it doesn't matter where you are. If you decide you want it more, go work for it and go get it.
So good, so good. And so I so appreciate your story, Larry, and the others as well, and just the inspiration you guys bring in terms of, just making the most of your lives and turning it around in many ways. And man, I have to comment, I love Po No Mo. That's just a great name for a boat.
Yeah, it is.
So that's great. But I love this boat too. But hey, with that, I want to ask a couple questions just real fast. One thing I want to point out is what Larry just pointed out is not only, we talk about the value of a college degree and the different jobs that all of you have, that they're interesting and they're able to provide for your life and your family, but also that job security piece, being able to work in a corporation, where you do have that job security. And like you said, whether it's, the health benefits, it's through this period, continuing to have a job. And those are some of the things that we know as a result of higher education gives us more opportunities for that. Not always guaranteed at all times, but definitely more opportunities for that. So I appreciate you pointing that out. Hey, Peter, I'm going to throw it to you. This is Peter Cruz, who's one of our AmeriCorps members at the Hope Through Housing Foundation. Peter, any comments or questions that you have for the panelists?
I want to thank them all for helping us and our teen residents and for our program. We greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, and so let me just ask real fast. We just have a couple of minutes. We have like 4 minutes. Several of you, it sounds like we're the first in your family to go to college and to complete that. If you were to give just one piece of advice to some of the kids who might be watching this, who maybe in their family, nobody's gone to college yet, and they might fit that person, what would be the one quick piece of advice that you give them?
I'd like to answer that. And I referenced it when I spoke. the guy in the football uniform was terrified that he wasn't going to have enough, be enough, do enough to finish. Do not let fear stop you. Fear is for normal people, and you have to be willing to do the work to be exceptional. And by the way, it's lonely at the top, so take your friends with you. So if you find a friend, a family member, a parent who says, oh, it's too late for me, if we're breathing and we're living, it's not too late. So if you don't want to be lonely, grab somebody, take them with you, make sure they can carry their own weight, and encourage you on days when you're falling short of carrying your own, so that way you can multiply the success that you and your family can achieve. And I'll tell you, it's not just about you changing the trajectory of your life. Education changes the trajectory of the lives of your descendants. So as you heard me say, my wife and I are both first-generation college students. Our kids didn't know college was optional. So now our bloodline from now on, education is a significant part of that, and all the resources that come with that. Go
That's great.
get it.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Anybody else who wants to respond to that?
I'll add to that. My response to that would be sometimes life throws you curves balls. And when I was, in my second year of college, my curveball was I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had to take some time off. No matter, and I had goals, I had dreams, I knew what I wanted to do, I had a vision for my future. No matter what curveball was thrown my way, I knew I was going to go back and accomplish my hopes and dreams. And there were people, in my life, close people that, was disappointed in me, and I wasn't disappointed in myself, but I knew that I had a hope and a dream and a goal, and so I was going to complete that goal. So I went back and finished my degree, and my bachelor's degree, and then later went back and finished my master's degree as well. And then, you say, you create that pathway, and you show that pathway to your child. My daughter, was with me the whole time, and she's seen that her mom was fighting hard and working hard to finish her goals and get the nice things that she likes today. So no matter what curveball's thrown your way, you always go back and finish your hopes and dreams.
Yeah, and Shay, you also said, speak it into existence.
Yes. Speak it into existence. I can sit here and tell you a number of stories and how that manifestation has happened for me. And I tell people that, and they're like in awe, like, you're kidding. I'm like, no, seriously. If I could sit here and tell you the number of times that's really happened in my life, you'd be amazed.
Yeah, and I'd simplify that by just saying it's about believing in yourself, right? And believing it's possible. Yeah,
exactly.
Chris,
I gotta add one last thing. So, like I mentioned, in my family, my dad had gone to college, and I was lucky enough to have a mentor and having my dad, and he had gone through the situation, and he was the first one in his family to go to college. So when he went to school, he didn't have any help on deciding where to go, how to pay for it, what are the steps. So, I guess I would recommend, if you can get a mentor or someone that's been there, they can help you walk through, show you the way. Here at Comerica, when we offer different services like this to talk about our journeys and how we all got there. And so you can just take the advice from Shaylise, Larry, myself, Kathy, on, I guess, what you can do if you're not really sure where to go. We all had different paths to get there where we're at today. But for me, like I said, it was a mentor. Larry maybe wanted to take someone else with him. So maybe he's gonna take me out on his boat next time. But that's all I gotta say.
we'll all go out in the boat.
Social distancing.
Yeah. I just want to say
later.
this thing too. Even though I ended up in a great spot and I'm super happy and I've got a beautiful family, for my children not to go to college was not an option. I saw the difference, and I'm super proud of them for doing it. So I feel so proud that they've broken the chain. They've broken the McEvely chain. So, but super proud of them. And
That's
it
great.
wasn't. And sometimes it's not hard. So or not easy. So glad they did it. Very proud of them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an option for them though either. Their father and I were pretty hard on them. So.
Well, that's great. And I think, and just going back to what Chris said in terms of finding a mentor, for anyone who's watching, wondering, how do I do it? How do I pay for it? Great advice is find somebody who's been there, who can help you with that. And I will say there is financial aid and there's dollars available to help you go to college if you really want to. I'd say the biggest hurdle for you is just making the decision and determining that it is something that you want to do and it is in your future.